Tides of the open hand, how giving, understanding, and compassion keep life flowing. Far below the restless surface of the sea, where storms exhausted themselves long before they could be felt, there existed a city called Lumeira. Light descended slowly there, filtered through miles of water until it softened into shades of blue and silver. Sound traveled differently too, not as noise but as vibration, a gentle hum that carried meaning as much as motion. Lumeira was not built in the way surface cities were built. It grew. Coral towers curved upward like patient thoughts, shaped over generations by intention, touch, and trust. Pathways arced naturally between dwellings, and the water itself responded to the emotional tone of those who moved through it. When people were at ease, the currents smoothed. When fear crept in, the water tightened, almost imperceptibly, but enough to be felt by those who listened. For centuries, life in Lumeira flowed with remarkable ease. No one hoarded resources. No one worried about being left without food, energy, skills, and care moved freely, circulating through the city like blood through a living body. Giving was not considered virtuous. It was simply natural. Presence was the currency, and attention was the gift most valued. At least, that was how it had been remembered. Ariel swam along the eastern currentway, his movements steady but his thoughts restless. A satchel of glow fronds floated at his side, harvested from the reef gardens where bioluminescent plants pulsed gently in response to touch. Each frond glimmered softly, illuminating his path and steadying his breath as it always had. Yet today, even their familiar light felt dimmer. The water felt heavier lately, not in any measurable way. The currents still followed their ancient paths, and the tides still arrived on time. But something subtle had changed. Conversations ended sooner than they once had. Requests for help were preceded by hesitation, followed by apology. People paused before offering assistance, as if checking an internal ledger to see whether they had enough left to give. Ariel noticed it most when he passed the exchange pools. Once, they had been the heart of daily life, a place where people gathered freely to share time, skills, stories, and care. No one kept count of who contributed what. The pools themselves seemed to glow brighter when they were full of laughter and connection. Now, they were quieter. Individuals floated alone, gazes lowered, minds busy with silent calculations about effort and return. Errol slowed as he approached the dwelling of Mira, one of the city's eldest listeners. Her chamber rested near a thermal vent where warmth rose steadily from the deep, creating a pocket of calm that felt like an embrace. The entrance opened as he arrived, not in response to a signal, but to his presence alone. "You're early," Mira said, her voice even and unhurried. "I couldn't rest," Ariel replied. "The currents wouldn't settle." Mira regarded him with clear, open eyes, eyes that had seen generations come and go without clinging to any of them. "The currents are fine," she said gently. "It is our holding that has tightened." Ariel released the glow fronds into her basin. They brightened the chamber, light scattering across the curved coral walls. "People are afraid," he said. "They think if they give too much, there won't be enough left." Mira nodded slowly. "That belief always feels convincing when vibration lowers." Ariel frowned. "Vibration doesn't lower on its own. Something causes it." "Yes," Mira said. "Resistance." She gestured for him to sit, and the water adjusted itself, cradling them in shared stillness. Tell me, she asked, when was the last time you gave without checking how it would return to you? Errol searched his memory. He remembered helping a neighbor repair a cracked shell dome, but only after ensuring his own dwelling was secure. He remembered guiding a younger swimmer through complex currents, but cutting the lesson short when he felt tired. Each act had been kind. Each had also been measured. I don't know, he admitted quietly. That is where the flow begins to slow, Mira said. Giving is not a transaction. It is a state of presence. She rose and drifted toward the chamber opening. Come, she said. It's time you see the city with new eyes. They swam through Lumeira together, not along the grand avenues, but through the spaces in between. Narrow channels where maintenance workers once sang while they worked now felt constrained. In the learning groves, children practiced complex movement patterns with precision but little joy. Their teachers focused more on correction than encouragement. At the outer reef, they encountered Jalen, a forager tangled in frustration as much as in rock vine. His net had caught fast against jagged stone, and his movements were sharp, impatient. Several swimmers passed nearby, noticed his struggle, and continued on without slowing. Arel felt the familiar tightening rise within him. If he stopped to help, he would be late for his next responsibility. If he expended energy here, he might feel depleted later. The thoughts came quickly, efficiently, and with them, a heaviness in his chest. Mira said nothing. She simply watched Arel turn back. He swam to Jalen and placed a steadying hand on the net. He slowed his breathing, matching the rhythm of the surrounding water. He offered no advice, no judgment, no analysis of how the tangle had occurred. He simply stayed present, allowing the tension to ease as their movements aligned. The net came free. Jalen exhaled, relief rippling through his body. Thank you, he said. I didn't know how to ask. You didn't need to, Arel replied, surprised by the lightness in his own voice. As they parted, Arel noticed something subtle but unmistakable. The water around him felt smoother. His muscles felt less strained. Giving had not drained him. It had opened something that had been closed. Mira smiled. Understanding, she said softly, is seeing another without resistance. You did not try to fix him. You did not decide whether he deserved help. You allowed what was. They continued toward the city's center, where the heart current pulsed a convergence of energetic flow that nourished all of Lumeira. Its rhythm was uneven now, its light flickering. Citizens hovered nearby, sharing theories and concerns, but few entered the current itself. Arel felt a stirring within him. Not urgency, not fear, something steadier, a quiet willingness. He swam into the current. Pressure increased immediately. Memories surfaced moments when he had judged others as careless, demanding, slow. Each judgment felt like a knot, tightening around him. His instinct was to pull away, but Mira's presence anchored him. Compassion is releasing judgment. He let the thoughts arise without fighting them. He did not justify them or condemn himself for having them. He simply allowed them to dissolve, like sediment settling when water is left undisturbed. The current responded. Its pulse steadied, growing warmer and brighter. Others felt the shift and drifted closer. One by one, they entered the flow, not to control it, but to match it. Someone offered time. Someone offered care. Someone offered attention. No one asked what they would receive in return. The city breathed as one. In the days that followed, changes rippled outward. The exchange pools filled again, not with urgency, but with ease. People lingered longer in conversation. Help appeared before it was requested. Disagreements softened as understanding replaced defense. Where tension arose, it was met with curiosity instead of judgment. Arrow found himself listening more than speaking. When discomfort arose, he recognized it as guidance rather than threat. A tightening signaled resistance, an easing signaled alignment. He adjusted not by forcing action, but by softening his presence. One evening, as faint surface light shimmered far above, Arrow returned to Mira's chamber. "The city feels lighter," he said, "as if it's remembering something." Mira nodded. When giving becomes presence, understanding becomes openness, and compassion releases judgment, vibration naturally rises. "And life flows," Ariel added. "Yes," she said, "because nothing is being held back." Ariel looked out across Lumeira, glowing once more in quiet harmony. He understood now that abundance was never something to store, it was something to circulate. The moment one stopped measuring, it moved freely again. The sea beyond the city shifted, currents aligning with a deeper rhythm, and far below the surface, in a place where giving was a way of being, life continued to unfold smoothly, joyously, and without resistance.